Hello everyone, in this video I'll be giving a review, the sound review of the new singles box set. So as you know, it's been a week roughly since the official release, and ever since then I have seen that a few people, only a handful of people, have been complaining about the sound quality, that it's compressed, brickwalled and you name it. And they aren't experts or anything, so I wouldn't believe them. But anyway, I have had a week to listen to all of the tracks, form my opinion, and because of the negative reports that people have been providing online, I have decided to take the matter in my own hands and compare all of the tracks to one another so you can see by yourself and form your own opinion if it's compressed or whatever. So these are the three sources that I have used in this comparison. So the 2016 box set, the Invincible box set, and the new singles box, of course. So for the most part it's the 2016 box set alongside with the singles set, because both of them have the 80s tracks. The Invincible only has the 90s tracks, but still it's going to be used later when we hit the 90s tracks. So before I do start, for the most part these are the masters that have been used. Ignore the first picture, it's just the first one which I found online. It's not an official master for this box since none of them have been published. But the second picture is very real. It was taken by Steve himself for his collection, which was only a tiny collection from what he said. So for the most part these sources have been used. There have been some vinyl rips, but that's just because the original sources are missing, or they are just gone, they can't be used, or whatever the reasons may be. So some tracks had to be vinyl ripped, but that's only maybe one or two, but it's mostly official masters provided by Sony and Marina. So obviously we're going to start with the very first single, which is Misty Circles, the singles version. The top is the singles box, the bottom is the 2016 sophisticated box set. I am not a sound expert, I'm not claiming to be one like the online losers, but never mind. From my visual perspective, they look exactly the same. There might be some differences. For example, the bottom in the 1/3 section, it does peak, but in the same place in the box set it doesn't take place, it's all evened out. So I wouldn't call this brickwalled or compressed or anything, it sounds fine to my ears. So let's move on to the next track. It's the dance mix in this case. I won't form the opinion for you, you can do that yourself, because I am not an expert, nor claiming to be one. So for this review I have taken random tracks from each CD. It's mostly 2 or 3, just to give a nice collection, so don't be surprised if this video gets a little bit long. But none of these tracks have been altered. I didn't increase or decrease the volume or anything like that. Whatever is present on the CD, that's present on here as well. So moving on, I won't be going too fast so that you have enough time to check, but if I do go too fast you can always pause and compare it yourself. So for example, I'll do anything, it's exactly the same compared to the 2016 box set, so it's pretty much the same. It's a little bit louder, I guess, as you can see, but it's not brickwalled or compressed or anything like that. You can search on Google or something, how do compressed tracks look like in Audacity, and this is not it. If some of the tracks look loud, then that's because I had to zoom out so that I can capture the whole track in Audacity, so I can screenshot and show the whole thing to you. So even if some of them might look loud, like this one for example, it's just zoomed out. And some results are quite interesting, like for this track right here. So the 2016 box set looks like it's just cropped for some reason, but the singles box allows the track to breathe. So some of the mixes themselves are loud, so no matter what you do in the mastering stage, if the mix is loud, then that's just the way it is. It can't be changed in most cases. There was only one track which I found uncomfortable to listen to, and that's the 1984 dance remix of What I Want. So it was a bit uncomfortable to listen in a few spots here and there, but it wasn't too bad in all honesty, but it was louder, obviously. Most of these tracks are louder than the previous box set, which isn't that big of a deal really, because you don't have to put up your volume that much as before to achieve the same result, so I guess that's fine. But to say that the tracks are compressed or brick-walled, it's a bit of a stretch really. It's more to gain attention and to damage the reputation of this box set, which it doesn't really deserve. It's a great box, I enjoy it, I'm really happy that it became a thing. I mean, many fans have been asking for something like this for years and years, probably longer than I've been alive, so we finally got it. And for the younger audience especially, just to say, like younger fans, that's what I'm talking about, that they've been fans just for a couple of years compared to other people, in that sense, saying that the tracks are compressed and stuff like that, it's not true. They clearly haven't lived through the time. They don't know how these tracks are meant to sound. If it's loud, like the American Wipeout mix, then that's the way it should be. It's not compressed or anything. That's the way how it was designed to sound, and it was approved by the band and the production team. And that's the way how it should sound. So now we are getting on to the 90s tracks. I apologize that the images are a little bit short or tiny and cramped, but I only have limited space on the slide, so unfortunately that's the way how it had to be. But you can always zoom in if you're on mobile, so that's fine. So we are nearly at the end. So this is a good example where actually the singles box is better because it's not as loud as the 2016 box set. So that already makes the argument invalid that all tracks are brickwalled and compressed, when only a handful of them actually are. But in most cases that's the way how the tracks were supposed to be. Something in my house is all of those tracks and mixes are loud in themselves, so no mastering would really fix that, because that's the way how it should have been, and that's the way how they sound correctly. So for this, I couldn't compare any of the other tracks on this single, and that's because different versions were used for this box compared to the others, so I didn't find it fair to compare, since there were those mixes present on this set are nearly a minute or a minute shorter. And for the newest singles I had to use the original CD that was released 3 years ago to compare. So the tracks are louder, but they aren't uncomfortable to listen to. They're not compressed or anything, to me. Right, so these are some of the reviews that I found which don't match to my listening experience. If you see stuff like that, I wouldn't believe them. I would buy the set and listen to it yourself so that you can form your own opinion and not be a sheep and listen to what these fake experts have to say. So my opinion is, as I said, don't trust everything that has been said online, because it's not true. Some tracks are louder than before, but it's not that big of a deal. They're not brick-walled. So what matters is that your experience is important, not anyone else's. And obviously the last point is, buy the set before it sells out, because once it sells out it's gone, and you do not want to pay the prices online, because if the 2016 box set hasn't proved that enough, well, I can't say much to you. So I hope you have enjoyed this. It's more for the technical minded people and for regular people as well, if you want, not to discriminate against anyone. Hopefully this has helped you form an idea of how this set sounds like compared to the previous sets. If you can't afford the 2016 set, which most people can't these days, so I would recommend buying this set, since it has most of the tracks that most people would be interested in anyways. It doesn't have too many remixes on it. Well, apart from the 90s Spin Me Around singles, but never mind. In most cases it has all of the remixes and tracks that you would probably need. So most people don't need a massive set like the 2016 box. And some people don't really enjoy most of the tracks that are on the albums, which is also a fair argument as to why they would prefer a set like this compared to an album set like the Invincible box that came out 4 years ago now, which is also not available, but you can still buy it relatively cheaply online. So if you don't have one, I would pick one up as well. Even if you're not that much of a fan of the 90s stuff, it's still worth buying and listening to. So the next part that would come out would probably be next week as well, where I'll be comparing all of the sleeves to each other to see how well they've been replicated. So you can wait for that. It should be out next week. I still need to film it, but that shouldn't take too long. So I'll see you then.